Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gents, and of course, thank you so much for watching. We are back on this 90 model Sportster. We're not able to start doing any teardown or any fun restore stuff yet. We've got to address what's going on with this transmission. I'm hoping in this episode we can at least get to the point to take her out for a test drive, but we got a lot of work to do on this bike, so let's stop talking and let's get busy. Hey guys, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Butler Customs Motorcycle Shop on YouTube. He's got a lot of really cool content for bikes out there. Also, he's a super cool guy. I had the pleasure of speaking to him on the phone for a good bit. So go check out his page, go subscribe to his page. Again, that's Butler Customs Motorcycle Shop. Now, we'll go ahead and drop this fluid, and then we'll get this thing up on the jack so I can actually get to it. Oh, that was on there. If you saw the first episode on this bike, you kind of know the situation that we're in. Yes, this bike does run, and we did limp it around the block, but to say it actually went around the block is kind of a stretch. This bike has definitely got its share of problems, and the big one, of course, is in here. We've got something going on either on the shifter mechanism or unfortunately the transmission itself. So all we can really do right now is just start peeling these layers back and trying to find the problem. You have to say though, if you did watch the first episode, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. It really does help us out here. Oh, that was loose. Everything's loose on her. And of course we got some leakages. There it goes. Well, full disclosure, this thing was not that full of fluid. Actually, it was a lot lower than I would have liked it to be. So don't do like me. Check your fluid before you go, drive it around the block. But I think whatever damage was going on in this bike was already done, to be honest. Now, I could have put, some fresh fluid in it and gave it another run. But honestly, it sounded so bad. And plus that carburetor is just leaking gas again like crazy. I got it to stop banging on the bowl, but it's just in bad shape. So I didn't want to hurt the bike anymore, and I certainly don't want to catch on fire. Kind of nervous about how bad this might look. Well, I see some rust in some spots that shouldn't be rust. Makes me think that this thing's just been kind of sitting open for a while. We'll get a closer look here in just a moment. In for a closer look, we got a little bit of surface rust here, as well as a little bit on the chain. This is kind of corroded. Looks to me like somebody had this probably open for a while, probably sitting in somebody's garage. But down here, this is what's got me really concerned. You can see all this sludge. This right here, unfortunately, there is metal in this. And that is no good. That's not what we want to see. And this also seems to me like this is installed wrong. That might be why see how that's moving like that? That cannot be right. I think somebody figured out, I think, how to install this wrong, and it was still halfway working. That would explain why the clutch pull was so hard and also why it was hanging up a little bit on me. But we'll deal with this later because we got to put a new clutch cable on it regardless. So now what we're going to do is just go ahead and pull our primary and keep going. Actually halfway expecting this nut to be loose, but we will see. Just get us some leverage and see if we can move it. Oh no, she's not loose. Oh, well, she's on there. There it goes. Woo! Got it. Leverage is your friend. There we are. Well, that seemed to go to plan. That's good. Ooh, look how rusty this is. horrible though, but man, this thing was left out. Not a big fan of snap rings, but they gotta come out. Well, got part of it out. There, got it. That's looking mighty nasty in there too. Man, this poor bike. I don't know what I prefer better, this or just a nut. I think I'd prefer to just put a ratchet on it. No, that's not good. What is the dilemma? Well, I had to go pick up some other snap ring pliers because my super cheap ones weren't working. So I went and got some other super cheap ones. Let's see if these do the trick. There. Oh, look at that. Cheap ones for the win. There, just take this off. Makes it easier. There, now we go. All right. So a little break in our action here to show you what we got going on with this clutch basket. So as you can see, we got some problems here, and this is something that's actually a known problem on these bikes, and quite frankly, I kind of had my fingers crossed that this wouldn't be a problem, but here we are. So when we removed this magnet was actually stuck to the stator. Again, not an uncommon problem where these magnets come off. I think there's like an epoxy or something that holds these on. Here we've got one magnet that's just completely cracked, and also we've got just some pieces that are just down here stuck. It's quite remarkable, honestly, that nothing bad happened or nothing any worse than what we got here. But the problem is, the concern or the kick in the guts part is these are not cheap. They're actually very expensive. But, you know, the cool thing is you can find them and you can easily replace them. It's just, you know, it becomes a money thing. So that stinks, but we're going to move forward. We're going to keep tearing her down. We're not going to let it slow us down. If anything, I'm probably going to just, you know, try to be a little more budget on this bike, if that's even possible. Another break in the action, and I promise we're going to get back to the teardown, but something else I saw that just kind of makes me shake my head. Right here should be a case bolt. It's not there. Now, at first I was nervous. I'm thinking, oh, great, we got strip threads. But I ran another bolt through it, and it's fine. The threads are good. Why somebody would pull that bolt out and leave it out is beyond me, but it was definitely removed. But right here, check this out. So if you can see, that's the actual washer. The washer was just hanging on right there for dear life. I guess the stickiness of the gear oil was just kind of hanging. I don't even want to touch it. I'm afraid it's going to fall. It is absolutely remarkable that did not fall down into that primary chain whenever I was running it. But no damage done. We're going to move forward and see what other craziness we can find on this bike. Well, we got to get to this final drive sprocket for this transmission, so we're just going to start removing parts, because that's what we do right now. Boy, everything is so loose. Well, that one was not even... That one was just hand tight. Of course, I am glad these are just hand tight. Let's be honest. It's a lot better than popping a stud or ripping a stud out or breaking it. And of course, all this stuff has to come off anyway, so just go ahead and remove it. It's all going to either be replaced if needed, cleaned up, restored. Of course, we're going to restore on everything we possibly can. Whoa, don't fall on me like you just did. Maybe I should pay attention. There's one. One exhaust. This side right here does not have to come off yet, but why not? Oh boy, that one's tight. See, I spoke too dang soon. Oof. That don't sound good. Now that might be pulling the stud out, but that's fine. They're not difficult to replace. But it's turning. Oh, it's not pulling the stud. Good. That's a win. Somebody did put new flange nuts on these though, so that's neat. That's probably, these flange nuts and the foot pegs are probably the nicest thing on this bike. And that's being pretty dang generous. And if you want to know why the pipe is held on with a metal tie, just go watch the first video on this series. Then you'll understand. Oh, of course, now they won't cut. What in the freaking world is the problem? Okay, that's not working. There. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Good. Both pipes are off. These right here would be our fancy foot pegs. Appear to be an Amazon special, but that is okay in my book for something like this. Ooh. Should probably put safety glasses on. But I'm not, because I can't see. Maybe I need some new safety glasses. I'll just do some safety squints. There, we got it. Safety squints for the win. What has got this thing hung up? Get out of there. Oh, boy. There's supposed to be a snap ring on this or something. There it comes. All right. Everything comes off so easy. Should be able to get this master cylinder off without just removing our line. We don't have any brake pressure back here, so, you know, we're going to have to redo that anyway, but I don't want to crack that line unless I have to. So just going to disconnect this, let her kind of hang, and see if we can't get to it that way. And I guess I'll see if this has fluid first before we go letting this thing hang down. I've already got enough oil spots in here from these bikes. This thing is absolutely slap full, which is crazy because it has no brake pressure. But we're going to syringe all that out and then we'll get done. So all I'm going to do is just take a little syringe, pull all that out, and then whenever we get done, we'll, you know, that way we can let it just kind of hang down, because if not, that's going to leak. Maybe, may not leak. Oh. Making kind of a mess. I'm doing this so I don't spill freaking fluid, and I'm spilling freaking fluid while trying to keep it from spilling fluid. If you follow that. I think that'll work. That will work. Boy, that thing's dirty. Oh man, there's a piece. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. I'm going to bring the camera over and let you guys see this. So if you can see inside the master cylinder, there is a piece of foil that was in there that, you know, probably came from the top of the brake fluid bottle, but it was over the holes down here. I guarantee you that's exactly what was keeping this thing from pumping up or for bleeding through. Wow. I'm glad we checked it. Oh. Loose, of course. Oh, that one was hand tight. This line could probably just use a whole brand new. Well, this rear brake, could probably just use a whole brand new line, but we are going to be spending way more on this bike than I ever wanted to spend, so we're going to salvage everything possible. Now, what's crazy is all the fasteners on here, master cylinder, this cover, up here on this cam chest cover, they're all different fasteners. They're all aftermarket, so somebody's been into all this, and, you know, it's very loose as I expected. Let's see if I can do this in one hand. Yeah, look at that. I'll try this one. Oh yeah, she loose. Supports my theory. I really do think somebody had this sucker apart. My guess is somebody tore it down because of whatever problems going on here on this transmission, and they just, you know, closed it back up, said forget it. And, you know, I get that. I've done it before too. I've had bikes where I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with it. All right, there it is. And there's what we got to get to. Oh boy. If this is loose, I'm going to be like, wow. Okay, guys, this is kind of, I don't know if I should say this is hysterical or crazy or what. You can see, got a piece of steel in here just to kind of lock this in place. And I got my socket, 1 1/8, put on the nut. Now, these are standard threads. 91 and up models, I'm pretty sure, are reverse threads, but you know, check your shop manual. But these are definitely a lefty-loosey. So I put my socket on there just to make sure it fits, and watch this. I'm not kidding. That was hand tight. And I drove this bike around. This is crazy. Well, we're starting to learn a lot about this bike. I already pulled on this off camera and it just fell off in my hands, so that makes it easy. Didn't have to loosen anything back here. You will have to put it back on. This stuff, you can tell this has just all been apart. Well, this chain is bad. The chain will be replaced. But the sprocket looks like it's in good shape. The teeth look good. I don't see anything on these or these splines that seems bad, at least in my mind. And the threads also, and the threads for the main nut look good too. So at least somebody didn't overdo it putting it back together. I'll give them that much credit. Now these 4 bolts here should be pretty easy to remove. Oh yeah, they're coming out. They have a low torque spec to begin with, but I'm sure they've been out. There we are. There we are. And good. That's a good sign. Make sure you behave. There we are. All removed. So right off the bat, we kind of noticed some problems here. So this gear right here, you can see we are missing a tooth. And there it is. It actually fell out. So I'm not a betting man, but if I was betting, I would probably assume this is where our noise was coming from. Just saying. And over here in our case, I honestly didn't find anything in there other than that old nasty gear oil that's been probably in this bike for who knows how long. Now, if you remember when we pulled the primary off, I was concerned about some pieces down in here. Well, the more I looked at them, I really think, and this is just my speculation right now, but I really think that was just pieces of those magnets that grenaded behind that clutch basket. But if that's the case, I'm not really concerned about that because we got to replace that sucker anyway. So here's my plan on the transmission. Well, be honest, I don't really have a plan. Here's my thoughts on the transmission. So first of all, I'm not a transmission guy, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am. But I am confident we're going to get this bike back together and back on the road. So I'm going to go chat with a local independent shop that I know right down the road, see if I can throw a few dollars at him to take a look at this gear set. Just want his advice. You know, I don't want to throw this thing back together thinking we fixed it only to have more problems and have to tear it all down, because it's a lot of work to get into that case, that is for sure. So we will give you guys updates as we go throughout these videos. I'm hoping we get this transmission back in here sooner rather than later, but we're just going to have to see. But for this video, it's actually going to be a couple of days until I get back to you guys. But when we do get back, we're going to start tearing down more of this bike. We got to get it down far enough so we can start getting to this engine, because we have quite a few leaks on that sucker that we need to fix. Well, I guess we could start with actually getting the oil out of this bike. Oh, look, that was loose too. Oh, got some on my shirt. That's a good start. And I guess we'll get this gas out of here. Now, as a bonus, I got the filter on, so I'm actually hopefully keeping rust out of my lawnmower gas. No way I'm going to toss this stuff. Is that it? Is that on reserve? Oh, I got to go up for reserve. Oh, no. So hard to get to. There it is. There we go. Well, this gas tank actually did its job for us just to test on it. But she's actually got a leak on her. I had no idea that this tank was a leaker. I'm glad that I didn't put it on that other bike I worked on. I guess it'll just be a shop tank now. I'll just use it to test on stuff. Uh-oh. Dropping stuff. What did I drop? I dropped it down in there. That's fine. Oh, that's fine too. Boy, I'm just having a bit of a mess here, ain't I? Oh well, whatever. We'll find it. Let's see if this one goes any better. Oh, come on. There we are. And look, it's a miracle. We actually got something removed. Now when you remove stuff like this coil, of course that was loose, of course, take pictures of it, or at least make notes, put some tape on it, label it something so you know where the wires go. At least that's what I do. I think these cables are actually new-ish, maybe. We will be redoing all the wiring on this bike, regardless, but knowing where everything goes sure does help. This thing, wiring-wise, is extremely basic, which is what I like. Come on, get out of there. As a bonus, just noticed our coil here is Dynatech aftermarket. Matches the ignition module and the nose cone, so somebody put some money in her. So now the question is, are these motor mounts loose? No, they're not. Good. That's actually a good sign. There. Just like they're supposed to be. And I do actually want to keep this motor mount because I am going to run a left side petcock, I do believe, but I might actually drill through that guy to run a fuel line through it. I know you're probably not supposed to do that, but as I always say, I do a lot of things that you're not supposed to do. There it is. All coming off. These do not appear like they have been out either, which is a good sign. Really good sign in my opinion. And we can't forget this front mount. I can get some leverage on this guy. Come on, break free. There it goes. Woo! She was on there. That's good though. You can tell nobody. I don't think anybody's been into the top end of this bike. I do think the rocker boxes have been off, but I think that's a good sign. Hopefully it's a good sign. That one broke loose. That's good. Get this one. There. We got them broke loose at least. All right, motor mounts removed. Before we pop this carb off, I want to show you guys what I was talking about how this can't be the right carb for this bike. So here's the inside of it, of course. We got the motor mount removed. We can get in here. Check out where the choke is, and it actually works. I think somebody shoehorned the wrong freaking carburetor onto this bike somehow. Unless I'm wrong, I'm not a Mikuni expert, so you guys comment away, but that can't be right unless I'm just losing my mind. But either way, she's got to come off. This carb support bracket right here is some serious redneck engineering. Maybe I worked on this thing before. So before I turn it, I'm going to guess. These are going to be hand tight. Let's see. Look, let's check that out. I promise I didn't check it. Let's go look at the other one here. Nothing. Wow. But like I said, that keeps them from being messed up. That's the one benefit. I have a feeling this thing's just going to fall. And it is where this carb goes into the intake. Oh yeah, and I got to get that intake out too. But where it goes into the intake, it's kind of crooked at an angle. That would probably explain why I had a nasty intake leak. Let's see if this will come off. Oh yeah, she's coming on off. With ease, as I figured. Come on, just get out of there. I don't need the cable or the carburetor. There's still gas in it. I don't want to start spilling freaking gas everywhere. Get out of there. For goodness sakes. Hey, can we just leave it right there? Yeah. Stay. Don't move. Nope. There it is. it worked. Into these bolts right here for these intakes can be pretty tricky. All I do is I take a piece of Allen that's been cut down, put just a 1/4 inch wrench on it, and then just try to get it on there as best as possible. Take me another wrench for just a little bit of leverage. Well, they're not wanting to move on me. Try something else. More leverage. Come on now, loosen up on me. Don't be a pain when I'm trying to film it. There it goes. Woo! Boy, that is tight. When in doubt, more leverage. Allow me to get enough leverage on it here just to break it loose. Well, that didn't go quite to plan. We actually turned a 1/4 inch wrench into one of them kind of, angled ones. Very surprised I didn't snap it. But we got 3 of them loose. We got this one and 2 on the other side. I could actually get to this one if I took my Allen key and cut it down even more, but I just don't want to do that. Since we're going to be popping these rocker boxes off anyway, that's going to give us a little more space to get one in there. We'll get it loose whenever we start to tear the engine down. But let's look on the bright side. I would much rather ruin this really cheap, junky wrench than mess up the head of the bolt that's stuck in that engine. Well, we've actually got our bike tore down far enough that we can start some of this engine work, but let's keep going. I want to give ourselves a little more room to play with when we're working on this bike, as well as getting some of this weight off of it. Everything has to come off regardless. I reckon we'll keep going. Oh, this isn't loose like everything else. There it goes. Finally, something that was actually torqued on this bike. What in the world is in that nut? Lots of mysteries. Well, this should have some torque on it since I'm the one that torqued it. Well, there she is. I do not want to fool with this chain at all. I just want to get it out of this bike and toss it. She's in bad shape, and hopefully she just comes on out. What am I hung up on? Oh, it's on the caliper mount. There we are. One rear wheel removed. Alrighty. And we'll get the rest of this out of the way. At least get this chain off of here so it's not in my way. My tools are all over the freaking place. Now we can get this chain off. Everything's removed back here. Well, most everything. We still got a little ways to go, but this will help us. You can see this chain though. She's pretty bad. I know some people might try to save on it somehow, but I don't know. For as cheap as you can get these for, I just don't think it's worth it. So I like to take these calipers off as one unit along with the master cylinder and the line. For me, it's just kind of handy. It just depends on your situation. Just makes it get everything back on nice and easy. Because sometimes there's no need to crack into this line. Our pads actually look kind of newish. That's kind of remarkable. And we can reach through here, take the whole thing out as one complete unit, just like that. Let's place our bets here. Is this going to be tight or loose? I'm going to go with tight. I don't think anybody's been into this. Let's see. Oh yeah, she's tight. I'm usually 100% correct 40% of the time, so that's good. That came loose though. That might have been, actually, that might have been a little loose. That was a little too easy. Oh, that is pretty dirty though. I bet we do have, I didn't think these wheel seals were leaking, but they might be a little leaky. They're going to be replaced anyway. I got so much stuff in my way. It's amazing I get anything done. Well, this is not one to behave. Calls for the motivation. Of course, your parts are going to fall. Well, that's tight, though. Loosen her up with this, maybe. There she goes. Alrighty. This guy out. And our front wheel's off. Well, we have gotten down to pretty much the basics. I still need to get that front fender off. But I think up here, I'll go ahead and get rid of this. Not get rid of it, remove it. This is funny, this is literally like all we had on the backbone. Now this is for the headlight, of course. And somebody, let's see, they ran it up through here and it goes up to this fuse block. I'm gonna have to deal with all this mess later on to figure it out. But somebody just wired this so that all that's on is high beam. Now, I've done that before on a chopper, so I approve of that. But I think we'll go ahead and remove that and get this out of our way. This right here is the wires for the coil coming off of the ignition module, and then I think we got one more. Yeah, this goes to the coil just to turn it on. We'll go ahead and move our high-end ignition mount here, ignition switch mount. There's not much to this wiring. So this won't be that difficult. But don't be afraid to jump in wiring on these bikes, especially if you're just trying to keep it simple like this one. These bikes do not need a lot of wiring to run. I don't think a lot of people realize that. The main thing really with wiring is make sure it's protected, make sure the connections are good, like solder, and make sure you have the right gauge wire for the right application. That is very important. That's where a lot of people, I think, kind of mess up sometimes. This little fuse thing, I don't even know if this is worthy to be reused, but I probably will, because I don't want to spend any money on this thing. All right, cleaning it up. Look at that. There's really not, I mean, aside from your ignition switch, there's really not a whole lot in there. Makes it nice and easy. We got some more redneck fabrication here on this bracket. I think I can actually use it. Maybe, I don't know. Not sure. It's some pretty thick steel though to hold on a headlight. Well, never to be found. Nope, there it is. I see it. There it is. All of its glory. Now we do plan to reuse this fender. It will get repainted just like everything else. But this one is tweaked just a little bit. So we'll throw her in the vise and use the fender straightener on her, or the channel locks. Usually you can get these suckers straightened up. You just basically you put the mounts in the vise, and that's what you want to tweak. It'll usually go. There she goes, right into my forearm. Well, I'm glad it didn't hurt anything else. I think we're at a good spot now. We got her tore down pretty good. Now, you don't have to tear the bike down, this far to get to the engine, but since we've already got to remove just about everything, might as well. This just makes it a lot easier. We still do have a little bit more to go back here, as well as the front end, but we'll tackle that in a later video. And after some high-end research on the interwebs, we might actually have us a plan for our transmission. Now, I'm not there yet with a full plan, but I promise I'll have you guys some updates in those future videos. Well, ladies and gents, as I mentioned before, the plan when we get back is to tear into the top end of this engine so we can fix all them crazy leaks. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You'll catch us future videos. And as always, I thank you guys so much for watching. We'll chat with you next time.